Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 5th Medical Recruiting Battalion, My Army Medicine Story. Today, I'm so excited to be coming here to talk to you all from Kansas City, the heart of America, and I have my co-host with me, and that is Captain Brandon Parham. We're missing Captain Linson tonight. She's just coming back off leave and has a lot of things going on, so we're going to hold down the fort for her. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and bring on my co-host, Captain Parham.
Hey, good evening. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm excited for our live stream. I always look forward to these during the week, like you say every time, because it's Friday Eve.
It is Friday Eve. Wow. Okay. Yep. And you know what? So I have a little funny story to share for you and all of the viewers out there. We recently, okay.
So I caught you slipping. You didn't.
Well, I wasn't ready for the intro, but you know, it's all good. We're still getting used to things without Otis. We miss him. He was awesome. He was definitely our mentor in these live streams, and we thank him so much for just everything that he taught us. So big shout out to Otis at OTSG for kind of just being our live stream mentors, and now we're growing up on our own. But my quick story is so it's Friday Eve for, the world, but we just had, the Operation Golden Caduceus.
Some people are already in Friday.
That's true. You got me there. So we had that recent Operation Golden Caduceus with our company, and because I won the amount of appointments conducted, I am taking a 3-day pass starting tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, it's my Friday. Super pumped. But today we are here to talk to an amazing Army officer, and that is MAJ Maggioni. She is an Army dietitian, and she's actually the current program manager for Army dental recruiting as well as medical specialist corps recruiting. And if you all had a chance to look at her bio, it's very extensive. We'll definitely let her tell her story. We're going to be asking her questions, about her experiences. And it's really kind of cool because she, even though she's a dietitian, she's had a lot of experience in recruiting. So we'll be able to, talk to her about that as well. So Brandon, what do you think? Without further ado, should we go ahead and bring MAJ Maggioni on?
Let's do it. Hi, ma'am. How are you?
Hi there, ma'am. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
We are so happy that you're here. And, I know it's been a little bit hectic getting this set up, but we are glad that it's working and ready to go. So how this kind of will work is, we're just going to have you share your background and your Army story. Feel free to tell us as much as you'd like. And then we're going to ask you some questions, based off of the information you share with us. And then we just encourage all of our viewers out there to, share your comments, your questions. And if you know MAJ Maggioni, send her a shout out so we can share that on screen. So ma'am, we'll go ahead and let you go ahead and share your background and your story.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Major Lori Maggioni, and I'm an Army dietitian. I've been in the Army about 11 years, and I joined through the Army Baylor Master's Program in Nutrition. When I was a senior at the University of Georgia, I started looking into master's programs, and to be honest, I didn't even know that the Army had dietitians. But when I stumbled across the Army Baylor program, it really just checked all the boxes for me. I grew up in an Army family. My father was a career Army officer, and so service has always been a part of my life. But when I started to do some more research about the Army Baylor Graduate Program in nutrition, I almost thought it was too good to be true. You get a commission as an officer. You do the program at the Army Medical Center of Excellence, and you get paid your full Army salary with benefits while you're doing the program, and the program's at no cost to you. So I started working with my Army healthcare recruiter, and it's been one of the best decisions. And since being in an Army and an Army dietitian, I've had the opportunity to serve in all areas of nutrition, whether that's inpatient, outpatient, public health, food service. That's just one of the things I love most about being an Army RD is, all the areas that we get to practice in. But I'll be honest, one of the, main draws that I had for serving in the Army was I knew I wanted to do something bigger with my career than just see patients. And that's something that the Army has really provided me, that leadership training, the mentorship, the opportunities to get advanced training and certificates, and to work in areas like recruiting. So I'm really passionate about talent management and bringing in the best people to join our team. And so it's been a really awesome experience that, my career in the Army as a dietitian, I've been able to work in different areas and not just in the field of nutrition.
Awesome, ma'am. I can definitely tell that you were an AMED recruiter at one point. How long have you been in the Army?
I've been in a little over 10 years. And, when I first joined, I'll say the things that most draw me to it was, the chance to move around the country, go to different parts of the world, have different experiences. But the longer I've stayed in, the things that really, I value more now that I have a family, or just all the other benefits that come from being an Army officer. But yeah, I hope to do a full career and just keep looking to see what's next on the horizon.
Absolutely. And with that, just real quick, when you came into the Army, did you plan on staying?
Yeah, I feel like I just try to take, every few years kind of reevaluate and say, hey, is this something that I love to do? When we go to work every day, it should be something that we love and that we're passionate about. And thankfully, I've been able to have some really awesome assignments. And also, being in the Army has served my family well. And so I don't think anyone, necessarily joins and says, oh, I'm definitely going to do 20 years. I mean, I'm sure those people are out there. But for me, it's just kind of been that gradual progression. And another big part of the reason why, I've stayed in is also just the mentorship I've received from senior officers. And I try to pay that forward myself too.
Thank you so much for sharing that, ma'am. And the comments are already kind of starting to come in, and it goes along perfectly with what you're saying. So we'll just go ahead and bring a few of those up on screen so that we can share those with you. So our first comment is Happy Friday Eve. So thank you very much. Sheila, we appreciate you tuning in and joining us this evening. And then RJ McDonald, thank you for all that you do for our country, Major Maggioni.
Awesome, thanks.
And looks like this comment is the one that I was talking about when you were talking about mentorship. And you said you like to try and pay it forward. Well, Joe Dusback said that you're one of the most helpful officers he's had the pleasure of talking to, and just wants to thank you. And it looks like we have one more comment right now. And please, definitely, if you have any questions, comments, shout outs, send them on. Sheila says, hello, Major Maggioni. You're an inspiration, ma'am. I'm a registered dietitian for 18 years in Las Vegas. I'm awaiting the board in October to hopefully be a reserve registered dietitian. Please give me tips on how to prepare for the board and be the best candidate. Thank you. Well, that's perfect. You're the perfect person to give the tips. So, ma'am, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Yes, great question, Sheila. So, all of our boards that we conduct with the Army Medical Department, we really look at the whole total person concept, or the total soldier concept. So not only are we going to look at your work and education experience, but we are going to look at your letters of recommendation, your statement of motivation, what you do in your community, whether that's volunteer service or different organizations that you're a part of. And all of that will play in part when it comes to your selection. You know, for dietitians, we have positions active duty and Army Reserve, and that goes for all 4 of the medical jobs that we have in the Army Medical Specialist Corps. And in fact, you know, I think it's, you know, of all the years I've been in the Army, I think now is the best time to be an Army dietitian. We are increasing the number of dietitians we're bringing in, and it's all directly related to holistic health and fitness. So our mission is increasing, the need is increasing. The Army is continuing to recognize the importance that dietitians play in the health and wellness of our soldiers. So we are excited that you want to join our team, and you know, we look forward to seeing your application.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
And before you jump in with your question, Holly, Sheila, if you could reach out to Captain Weaver, and I want to put her stuff right here, LinkedIn, IG, all the above, text, call, email, for anyone out there. But specifically for Sheila, and I bring this up because I just spoke with a registered dietitian that is interested in joining the reserve, and she was wanting to speak with a dietitian in the reserve just about your daily life and what you do on drills and all that stuff. If you would be so kind to reach out to Holly, so I can get her contact information, if you'd be willing to speak with her one-on-one, that would be fantastic.
Awesome. All right, ma'am. So you mentioned the holistic concept, the holistic health. Could you talk to us more about what that program is, what it entails, and, you know, is this the Performance Triad or is this something else? Could you explain to us and share more about it?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm glad you brought up the Performance Triad. You know, when I first joined the Army, the Performance Triad was big. You know, General Horoho, our first female Army Surgeon General, you know, she was the big push behind that. And the 3 parts of the Performance Triad are sleep, physical activity, and nutrition. So I was ecstatic that the Army Surgeon General, you know, it was talking about how important nutrition is for the entire Army. You know, in the Army, we're always just talking about PT and physical fitness, but we really miss out on those other components of sleep and nutrition. And holistic health and fitness really takes the Performance Triad and just expands it and it implements the Performance Triad to improve soldier readiness. So if we think about, you know, really only 25% of the population is eligible to serve in the military, and of that, only 1% actually do. So holistic health and fitness, or H2F, it really gets after taking care of that top 1% of our country. And H2F looks at not only the nutritional and physical, but also mental and spiritual aspects of soldier wellness. With H2F, we are embedding dietitians, physical therapists, occupational therapists, strength and athletic trainers, strength and conditioning coaches into brigades. So we are taking people, you know, instead of having this concept of, oh, you have an injury, you need to go over to the clinic to be seen. No, we are going to have the providers right there with the soldiers embedded, working to make sure that they are as healthy as they can be. Injury prevention, and if someone does get injured, you know, we're right there to help them rehab. So it's really just an exciting time to be an SP Corps officer, and especially those jobs I mentioned, you know, physical therapists, occupational therapists, dietitians. These are the jobs that we are actively recruiting and that we need to make H2F, or holistic health and fitness, a success. Oh, you're on mute.
That's awesome, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's like you're a spokesperson for Army medicine. You're just You just say that so eloquently, but we know that you have to talk about this a lot, being in recruiting and formerly an AMED recruiter. So switching gears a little bit, now your position is at the Medical Recruiting Brigade, working with the Dental Corps and the Specialty Corps. Could you just explain a little bit more about what you do in that role and how you're helping bring in future dental and medical specialist corps officers into the Army?
Yes, absolutely. So this is really just a dream job for me to be able to work at recruiting headquarters. Ever since I did recruiting out in the field, recruiting healthcare providers, I found it so rewarding to be able to recruit the future providers that are going to take care of me, take care of my family. And after I got done being a recruiter, I went back to working in a hospital, and some of the people that I recruited, I worked side by side with, and those were my peers. So I always knew about this position as a program manager. And I really sought it out because, just like our, saying is in the Army, where we have people first and people are our number one priority. Well, the only way that we get good people on our team is through recruiting. So I'm very passionate about talent management. And in this position, I get to work with the Office of the Surgeon General consultants for each of the AOCs or areas of concentration, the medical jobs that I oversee, coordinate with them to ensure that the types of applicants that our recruiters are talking to are, meet with what the Army needs as far as providers to serve in Army medicine. So it's really exciting to be at this level, and I'm very thankful to serve in this capacity.
Awesome. Thank you very much, ma'am. And I agree. It definitely is very rewarding to be able to, talk to the future of Army medicine. And, when you're working with an applicant that's just so excited to change their life, and their family's lives for the better. And it's really cool to be able to be in that chapter one or, the very beginning of their Army story and helping them get that started. So I would agree with you. It's very rewarding personally and professionally.
I absolutely agree 100%. I've met some of the most amazing people out here on AMED recruiting and worked with them in the passion that they have to come in, whether it's medical, as a physician or a dietitian or a physical therapist, whatever. But their drive really helps drive me and enjoy my job.
Absolutely. And Captain Parham, this one is for you. You recently were looking at how many contracts you have written since you have been in AMED recruiting, because you didn't know. And I would have to look too, but mine is only a fraction of what you have accomplished. So can you share with our viewers out there how many contracts you've written in the last 3 years?
I literally told you the other night not to bring this up.
It's too awesome. It's pretty phenomenal.
So I have either boarded or transferred as of today, because I transferred another one today, a total of 55 medical officers in the last 3 years, whether from the National Guard or the IRR or boarding civilians that have that drive to come in. But so 55 today.
55 people's lives that you've helped change. That's when you think about that number, that's pretty impactful. So you should definitely be proud of all the work that you do for our Army medicine team.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I enjoy every minute of it. Just, reconnecting and staying in contact with the officers that I put in and the officers that I transfer is awesome to hear their story and the way that I'm able to help their career and their families. So it's, like you said before, it's so rewarding.
It looks like we have a lot more comments coming in, so we're going to go ahead and pull up those. Sheila wants to thank us for what we're doing and for providing that information to her. Thank you, Sheila. we appreciate you for tuning in, because this is what this is all about. We're here to motivate and inspire, hopefully, the future of Army medicine, as well as sharing the stories to currently serving officers, of our great Army medicine leaders like Major Maggioni. Our next comment is from Grace. She said she will be a junior in college and she is a dietetics major. She's very interested in applying for the Army Baylor internship. What is the best way to get in contact with someone for more information on the program? And thank you for all you do.
Well, hi, Grace, and I'm so excited that you're interested in the Army Baylor Graduate Program Nutrition. You know, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, they don't rank dietetic internships, unlike, we rank physical therapy schools or nursing schools. But I can say without a doubt that if they did, that the Army Baylor Dietetic Internship and Master's Program would be number one. So I'm really excited that you are interested in applying to our program. And the best way is to get in touch with your local Army medical or Army healthcare recruiter. You can reach out to Holly here, and she can make sure that you get connected to the right person in your area. But being a junior is the perfect time to start getting your packet ready to apply. The GRE is a requirement to apply for the Army Baylor Graduate Program in Nutrition. So, taking that time to study over the summer and take the GRE is really important. Then you can look at, making sure you have all the prerequisite courses to apply, as well as strengthening other parts of your application, like getting your letters of recommendation ready, working with your recruiter to get the medical physical part of your application taken care of. So yeah, your junior year is the perfect time to start working with your recruiter. The Army Baylor program also has a really great website if you haven't been to it, and they do live virtual tours. You can sign up. They do them, I think, every other month, and you can actually take a tour of the program there at the Army Medical Center of Excellence in San Antonio. You can kind of chat with some of the faculty, and so that's another really great way to learn more about the program.
Wow, that's awesome. I did not know about the virtual tours, and I might have to check one out in the future to find out more about the program, beyond what we know, from the program guides and the websites, and just helping out applicants. So that's great to know, and that's definitely an awesome resource for anyone out there that's interested in checking out that program. You don't have to go all the way to San Antonio to see what the program is all about. Just check out the virtual tour. And then definitely, Grace, feel free to reach out to me any of the ways below, and I will make sure that you get to a recruiter that's in your local area.
And Grace, thank you so much for your interest. And I would like to share something about dietitians. So typically when we go to colleges, it's what we call the Army table bubble, right? So when they see our table, it's like, or like this kind of thing. So I had my first experience with dietitians. I did a brief at St. Louis University, and I guess all of the dietitians within, 150, 200 miles were there for this brief about the internship. And by the time I got to my table after the presentation, I had a line of dietitians at my table, which is absolutely 100% unheard of. And I was so overwhelmed. Yeah, I was like, what is going on? This is insane. But I love that just the personalities, it seems like the dietitians match up, and they're so outgoing and ready to try something new. And I think that is phenomenal and fantastic.
Yeah, I've experienced I've never heard of the Army table bubble, but I have definitely experienced where, you have a table set up somewhere and people are just dodging it, and that's, that it is helpful to be outgoing in this type of position, because that way you can break the ice and, talk to the medical professional or the nursing student or, whoever it might be. And you can let them know, what the profession is like in the Army. And it's, you get to actually practice what you're studying and that kind of thing. Because, we have to break down the misconceptions and what people think Army medicine might be. Because I know for myself, I didn't know what Army medicine was all about until I was getting a brief from my Army recruiter when I was in nursing school. So up until that point, I didn't realize that there were nurses in the Army, just because I, had never really thought about it. And it wasn't until that opportunity, I heard about it, I found out more, and I decided that's something I want to apply for and, go for. And there honestly has not been a day in my life since then where I was like, I wish I didn't apply for that. I have been so blessed and thankful every day that I decided to make that decision. And I truly believe I'm where I am today because of making that decision. So if you're interested, it's worth looking into, checking out. And I'm sure, a lot of the misconceptions that you have, we would be able to, dispel.
So one, yeah, information is power, right? I mean, you're not losing anything by getting a little bit of information. Two, maybe it's just me that calls it the Army table bubble. But I call it that because my first experience out here on AMED recruiting was at UMSL, and all the students were in a presentation upstairs, and our table was directly in front of the stairwell, and they came out, and it was like just straight around, like there was an invisible bubble around the table, but.
It could have just been you too. No, I'm just kidding.
Touche.
I'm so glad that you brought up the misconceptions because, even with people currently serving in the Army, they don't know about so many of these opportunities that we have and the scholarship programs and the graduate programs that we have. And every year I go back and guest lecture at my alma mater, the University of Georgia, and about what Army dietitians do and what it's like being an Army dietitian. And every year people, say, oh, I never knew the Army had dietitians. I never thought about how nutrition is so important for soldiers to help them perform and do their job better. Because we really think of our soldiers as soldier athletes. And if we think about any professional sports team, what do they have? They have these team of providers that are there to help them perform at their peak. That's what we're doing with Army medicine. But yeah, the questions that you always get from people, like joining as a female, do you have to cut off all your hair? Do you have to go to basic training? For our medical professionals, if you are applying to many of these programs or to come straight in as a professional, if you are already qualified, you go straight to officer basic leadership course. You don't go to basic training. And many people don't know or understand that. And, the officer training that we go to is just with other Army medicine, the Army Medical Department, other providers. So you're doing your officer training with doctors, nurses, social workers, a bunch of other medical professionals. So that's why I'm so glad that you host this series, because it really just gives people a better understanding of what it's like to be a provider in the Army.
And ma'am, did you find those experiences with direct commissioning course and basic officer course is a great time to network and find other people that you can use or reach out to in situations in the future?
Yes. I went to my officer training over 10 years ago, and I'm still really close with many of the people that I met there, including Otis Toussaint, who does, started this broadcast with you guys.
Ooh.
So that's how I know him through OBC. So yeah, it's such a small Army, people that I've gone to professional military schools, whether it's captain's career course, you stay connected. And then if you need help with an issue that you're dealing with in your clinic or with a soldier, you have that wide range of resources and peers that you can reach out to all over the world.
Absolutely. And just reflecting back on my experience in the officer basic course, it was in 2012. And there are still many people that I keep in contact with. All right, looks like we have some more comments as well that we can bring up. Do you know a Brianna?
Yes, I know Bree. Hi.
All right, what's up, Major Maggioni? And RG McDonald says, do I get to choose if I'm a part of an H2F team?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this is currently being rolled out Army-wide. It started as a pilot program the past couple years, but starting this year, H2F is expanding across the Army. So really, over the next 5 years or so, it's just going to keep expanding, and these opportunities are going to be there for soldiers to be able to have access, have embedded dietitians, physical therapists, occupational therapists, strength and conditioning coaches, athletic trainers, right there to help get after improving readiness, reducing, the risk of musculoskeletal injuries. These are the things that we can prevent in the Army. We can do a better job of getting people back in the fight.
I agree. And having my time at Fort Carson and having a little bit more time with dietitians, physical therapists, and the Army, the way the Army is moving with having those at like you guys down at the battalion and brigade level co-located, much easier to get in contact with and work with on a daily basis or a weekly basis, I think is a great way. I worked with a great physical therapist, Captain Kewick there, and he had a spot in the brigade gym. And I know that that's kind of the way that it's working with dietitians and physical therapists to make sure that all the soldiers stay healthy and are able to have access to getting healthy and staying healthy and rehabbing those injuries.
Absolutely. I think the Army is on point with this one, and it's going to especially help and benefit with the new Army Combat Fitness Test, yes. Because this isn't a test that you can just go and do. It's something you need to train for. And we know that with the training, you also have to have good nutrition to meet those performance goals. You're not going to be able to build up on your deadlift without, increasing your protein intake and just having that balanced, healthy diet if you're just eating, not a very good diet. So that's why it's so important that we have dietitians and physical therapists to make sure that we're not only training smart, but we're fueling our body with the right food so that way we can continue to improve our ACFT score and doing it the healthy way.
And drink water.
Yes, I mean, you cannot out-exercise a bad diet, that's for sure. So thanks for the shout out.
And it looks like Sheila said, that's amazing, Captain Parham. That's in reference to all the contracts. We think it's awesome too. Thank you so much, Sheila. And then she's given a shout out to her awesome Army recruiter, Sergeant First Class Smith, for informing her about this live session. And I actually don't even know Sergeant First Class Smith. So the fact that the live stream made it out to her recruiter and then to her, it means that something is going right with us sharing it on social media and through our PAO channels. So big shout out to our team for helping push this series and, promoting it out to the force. So we appreciate that for sure. And then this comment from Joe, it's in reference to the Army Baylor nutrition program and the tour. Fully recommend everyone to check it out. We agree. I think I'll check it out myself. And then Grace says, thank you so much. I'll definitely be checking out the virtual tours. Awesome. So great tip, Major Maggioni. And I'll get in contact with Holly, and I will definitely get you connected to the right person. And then Sheila is going to be contacting me as well. So that's great. And then it looks like we have a testimony From a Brianna, as a testimony, my husband was recruited as a medical lab officer 3 years ago. It has been the best decision for both himself and our family. I highly recommend anyone who has even a bit of interest to talk to someone about the possibilities. Thank you all for your service. Thank you so much, Brianna, for sharing that with us, and thank you and for what you do as an Army spouse and what your husband does as a medical lab officer. We appreciate you signing in and sharing that with us. But ma'am, just kind of back to the family piece. You talked about earlier, the Army has been amazing both for you and your family. And now we have Brianna here talking about it's been the best decision for her and her husband as well as their family. Can you just expand a little bit more on the opportunities as a family and the benefits of having a family that's in the Army?
Sure. Well, I kind of mentioned that I grew up in an Army home. My father was a career Army officer, and so the Army's always been a part of my life. Growing up with the Army values, and it's really just an honor that I'm able to share that for my family now. So, it can be challenging when you have one person in the military and the spouse is not in the military, and trying to manage two people's careers. But there's so many benefits that the Army has to support military spouses. And so moving every couple years, we've been absolutely been able to make it work for both myself and my husband's career as a civilian attorney. And for our kids, when I was pregnant with my first son, that's when the Army doubled our maternity leave to 12 weeks of paid leave, plus we get an additional 30 days of leave every year. So I was able to have all that time at home with my son and just come back to a really supportive work environment. I mean, the Army is a family, and, we're at work every day. The people you end up working with, they become part of your family as well. And because, you're in this community of folks having to move, every 3 years or so, you form bonds and friendships really quickly with people, because we're all kind of in the same boat with wanting to make those connections and relationships. Other things that you really can't beat as far as benefits with being in the Army is, free medical care for my family. I just see what my friends pay, each month for their medical insurance and their deductibles. And that's 100% free in the military for not only me, but for my spouse and my children. So it's amazing to know and that, I can provide the best healthcare possible for my family. And then also just all the schools and child care services and child youth services, sports, everything that my kids are a part of or just starting to get a part of now that they're getting a little older. That's all available to me, and my family through the Army. So, it's really great to have all these opportunities and to fully take advantage of them.
Sorry, I did that again.
Hey, quit touching the buttons over there.
I know. I'm sorry. That's my bad. It's a habit.
I agree with you 100%. And I definitely think it's the little things. You brought up some of those, and like the MWR, we went to Disneyland or Disney World not too long ago, a couple of years back in Universal Studios, and getting tickets through MWR at a discounted price through them was definitely helpful to create an experience for, my family, my daughter, and everything. And the other thing I want to touch on is she said, if you have a little bit of interest, talk to somebody about the possibilities. And I know there's a negative connotation behind the word recruiter, right? But in my experience and the people that I work with, it's not about recruiting. It's not about any of that other stuff. We don't get paid extra. It's not about that. It's about changing people's lives and really laying out what is your end goal and how can we help you get there. And anyone that you speak with is going to lay out those possibilities, the scholarships, or whatever your end goal is, and help you get there. So definitely don't be afraid just to ask the questions, come to us and just have a normal conversation about how we can help you. If you don't end up doing it, that's totally fine, but at least you have the information.
Yes, I mean, people need to make an informed decision and what is the best thing for their family, whether that be active duty service or Army Reserve. I mean, you can come in active duty, you can switch to Army Reserve. You know, there's so many possibilities out there. You know, what type of benefits are you most interested in? What type of incentives? You know, a sign-on bonus, first loan repayment. I mean, we have so many options. And I'm sure you guys would agree that, you know, our applicants today are so informed. They have everything at their fingertips as far as finding information. So most people, when they go talk to a recruiter, they've already done hours of research, you know, and so they're coming to really talk face to face with that person in uniform and really find out more like the human side of the element and the opportunity to be connected to people in that profession that they're interested in. So that's one of the huge benefits of Army medical recruiters is, you know, just in a click of an email, they can connect our applicants with any job in the military that they're interested in to talk to a provider to see what it's like, you know, doing that job in the Army.
And you're 100% right. And that's why I threw that out there earlier, is that I don't think that I have really spoken to an Army Reserve dietitian, because as you stated before, a lot of the dietitians come in through the program. So when Sheila reached out, it's a perfect opportunity for me to. I'm not a dietitian. I don't know what you guys do in the reserve. I don't know what you do on a daily basis. I can speak the programs and all of that stuff to the end of the day, but really speaking face to face with somebody in your specialty. And I want that for those that are coming in or interested.
Absolutely. And I just want to kind of do a quick plug. You know, Major Maggioni, you talked about how our applicants have all different kinds of things at their fingertips that they can use to find out more information about Army medicine. So I'm going to go ahead and just put up this banner real quick. And right now it's actually Army National Hiring Days. And what that means is we're just trying to get out more information, get the word more available and spread across the nation and the world about Army medicine and the opportunities that lie within. You can actually go on your phone, Google Play or the App Store, and you can type in U.S. Army Medicine Careers, and you'll be able to find our healthcare app that's free. And, if you're worried about space or something like that, you could always, delete it later. But it has all of our critical wartime specialties on there. And then in each specialty, it tells you information about potential duty locations if you're planning to go active duty. You can play around with, what rank are you going to potentially come in as with your experience? And then it'll show you, potential pay. And obviously, that it's a range. So just think of it as like a starting point because, every year the bonuses change and stuff like that. But then it also has information on how you can get in contact with an Army recruiter. And then there's videos linked in this app. So I highly recommend downloading this app. I personally use the app for finding information. And then on top of the app, you can go on YouTube and search for specific videos. You can actually check out our 5th Medical Recruiting Battalion channel, where we've done over 20 live streams last year on different Army medicine specialties. And we are continuing to set up more live streams and more interviews with different specialties. And that's how a lot of people, I get in contact with. They have watched one of my live streams or one of our live streams that we've done. And they say something to the effect of, I saw the live stream on being a CRNA in the Army. I was really interested. Could you tell me more information? Could you link me up to someone? And that's how the conversation gets started. And at the end of the day, like Captain Parham said, we aren't paid any additional money if someone signs on. So if it ends up not being the right opportunity for you, we understand. It's not for everyone. It is a life-changing decision. All 3 of us here, it's been a positive decision, and we definitely don't regret it. But we are here to help and to mentor all of those that are interested in making the decision that's best for them. So, just that quick plug, definitely check out our YouTube channel. We have a lot of videos on there. And then also, you can leave in the comment section, you could get a hold of us. And if there are videos that we don't have on our channel that you would like to see, different specialties and information, we're continuing to add more content to get more officers, on our live stream. So just let us know what we can do to make this show better. But definitely check out the app. It's a great resource as a recruiter. And then I know it would be a great resource if I was, a potential applicant.
So you say recruiter, but what I've learned in the course that I'm currently in is that you're an officer on AMED recruiting duty. Okay. So let's fix that.
So you can reach out to an officer on AMED recruiting duty. That's a lot to say. So we'll just stick with, we could say healthcare recruiter or recruiter, or there's many other terms, outreach team, but at the end of the day, recruiter, outreach team, I'm here to help you and to get the information out and to motivate and inspire professionals out there that might happen to see this video and think, Army medicine. Wow, I hadn't thought about that before, but that sounds like an awesome opportunity. I've heard this professional, they've had a great experience, and I want to find out more. And there actually have been officers that have now commissioned that found out about the opportunity through the live stream. So, it's a longer process. So we're just now starting to see that return on investment. But I think these live streams are a great way to get out the information, not to toot my own horn. So it looks like we have a few more comments coming in, and this one is from Vanessa. Hey Lori, I'm watching with Xavier, who is a rising junior and junior ROTC in school. What advice do you have for him as he considers the future in the Army and possibly Army nutrition? What should he be working on now and learning?
Wow, that's such a great question. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for asking that. So, yeah, programs like JROTC are amazing because, it starts teaching that discipline and military bearing at a younger age. And really, as far as doing well in school, being involved in the community, being involved, whether it's in fine arts or athletics, I mean, these are all things that make a well-rounded person, a well-rounded leader, and eventually a well-rounded soldier or Army officer. But, ROTC is definitely an option, once you get to college. And it's a great way not only to pay for college, but then, once you graduate, you will commission as an officer. And in my position, I also work with ROTC cadets who are interested in ed delay. So if you are an ROTC cadet in college and you're interested in doing some of these professions or jobs that the Army has, you can request an education delay. And then after college, you can go to physical therapy school, you can go to occupational therapy school, or, get a master's in nutrition and then come into the Army, as a dietitian. Also, that doesn't include applying for HPSP and medical school and all the other scholarship opportunities that we have. I also work with cadets that are interested in applying for our active duty programs, whether that be in any of these specialties. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome that just starting at that young age, they're showing that interest in serving their country, learning about military and military history. And I know Xavier is going to go on to do amazing things.
I think that's awesome that, both Vanessa and you're watching with your, I believe, son, Xavier. I think that's great that, you're finding out the information now and that you're motivated to learn and to see what possibilities are out there for the future. So I think that's great. And thank you so much, Major Maggioni, for providing that feedback. And 100% the education delay for our TC students is a phenomenal option and program, not only for nutrition, but also for our HPSP programs, such as going to medical school, vet school, and dental school. So those are all great options as well. And it looks like we have optometry school as well.
Yep.
Joe would like to know, how many more dietitians is the Army looking to add over the next few years due to H2F?
Yes, that's a great question. So if we just think about, kind of usually how we've been bringing dietitians into the Army is mostly through the Army Baylor Graduate Program Nutrition. That program has about 15 spots a year. In a couple years, we're looking to expand it to 20. But, then we would also select a few people to join the Army active duty who are already registered dietitians, maybe 3 to 5 a year. Well, last year and this year, we are bringing in, 15 dietitians, direct commission, who are already fully qualified. So no, that's like 3 or 4 times the amount that we were bringing in just a couple years ago. And, that's where we're moving. I mean, we are bringing in just as many dietitians who are fully qualified providers as we are that we have spots in the graduate program in nutrition. So, the Army has spoken. They've emphasized that they want more dietitians, they want more physical therapists and occupational therapists, and it's the most that we're bringing in, at least in the past decade when it comes to bringing these providers and recruiting them to join the Army active duty. So yeah, there's a lot of different options. I mean, you could either join through the graduate program like how I joined, or you could, do a dietetic internship and master's program on your own and then join afterwards. So yeah, great question. I mean, we are increasing every year the number that we're bringing in to support this program.
Ma'am, you nailed it. While you were speaking last time, I popped open my computer to get that answer in case nobody had it. And you nailed it right on the head.
I got it. No need to look it up.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. So it looks like 16 on the currently practicing, and then 15 there for the graduate program.
Yep.
For the next couple of years.
And Joe would like to say thanks so much. No problem, Joe. We appreciate you for tuning in. And it looks like our time together is starting to wind down. So I think, Brandon and I both might ask one final question to kind of close this up. And my final question to you, ma'am, is if you were talking to an Army, or not an Army, a dietitian that was out there and they were strongly considering the Army, what would be, a story or an experience that you could tell that person that would really just paint a picture of what Army medicine is like?
Oh gosh. Well, one of the best experience that I've had since joining the Army was having the opportunity to go on a humanitarian mission to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. And through doing that mission, I was able to serve as a dietitian, helping people in just their most time of need with a team of medical professionals. And that really gets after why I wear this uniform every day, is to be a part of something bigger than myself and to help others. So, if you're looking at having those types of experiences, then being an Army healthcare provider is the place to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was great. And that, I feel like, would be a really rewarding experience to do that humanitarian side of Army medicine.
Yeah, and it's one of the pieces I always speak about is because everyone always thinks deployment. That's all the Army does, but it's really not. And I think the humanitarian mission piece of that goes a long way to show that it's not just about Iraq and Afghanistan, but it's also about other countries and other people that are going through a hardship, and that we're able to help them. So thank you so much for sharing that. My question would be, so we talked a little bit about your new position, being the specialist core and dental core liaison for USREC. So how has that impacted you or helped you progress your career, ma'am?
Well, anytime that you can do a job maybe outside your normal area, that can be seen as a positive for the Army because it's really showing how versatile you are. As Army providers, we have opportunities to serve in positions of command. We have opportunities to do long-term health education, training with industry. As dietitians, we can serve at USARIUM, which is the U.S. Army Research Institute of Environmental Medicine. So there's areas that we can serve in, that aren't necessarily traditionally in a clinic working as a, officer in charge of a clinic or of a department. And so anytime you kind of get out of your comfort zone and do some of these different jobs, usually you're well rewarded by the Army because it just shows, what type of well-rounded leader you can be. So just kind of twofold. Being able to do this job is not only very rewarding for me, but it's also helped my career as well.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And I think that's a big misconception with the Army and moving to different positions along the way. But like you said, getting out of your comfort zone and realizing your overall potential, that you can excel in situations that you may not be comfortable in, a job that you may not be comfortable in, learning, constantly learning, always learning.
I'm still learning. Yes.
Every day.
Well, the time is now 7:00 Central Time. I believe it's 8:00 where both of you are at right now. I just want to thank all of our viewers out there so much for tuning in, for all of your engagement. This has been an excellent live stream. Thank you so much, Major Maggioni. If you and Captain Parham want to go ahead and just hang out backstage, and I will close up the live stream.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, I just want to say again, thank you so much to everyone out there for tuning in tonight for another awesome episode of the 5th Medical Recruiting Battalion, My Army Medicine Story. We had another great episode today with Major Maggioni as an Army dietitian and the current program manager for Army dental recruiting and specialty corps recruiting. We thank you all for your engagement, for your comments and questions, and we will see you again on the 2nd of June at 11 a.m. Central, where Captain Parham, Captain Linson, and myself will be interviewing Major General Lemaster for Army National Hiring Day. So that's going to be an excellent live stream. Make sure you mark your calendar. We'll be sending out the information on social media here pretty soon. And we just thank you again, and I wish you all have a wonderful Friday and a great night.